You can feel it in the room. The trades happened, and everyone took a breath. But that breath was equal parts relief and urgency. The front office finally moved. You saw names come in, and the building's mood lifted. That matters, because momentum in confidence can ripple through practice and meetings. Still, let's be honest with each other. A couple of new defenders doesn't magically erase the issues that put you behind in the first place. The computers that model the season still give you long odds. Your record doesn't lie. You're stuck back in the pack, and when you look up the standings, you realize you're not looking at a gradual climb so much as an uphill sprint with a lot of traffic. Turnovers and penalties aren't just bad plays, they're momentum snatchers. When you fumble to start a game and throw an interception to end one, you've created your own enemy. Pre-snap penalties and missed assignments are the same thing. Self-inflicted wounds that hand advantage to the other team. Before the ball is even snapped, those things compound faster than any single roster move can fix them. So while Quinnen Williams and Logan Wilson and the other guys you added absolutely help, the question is whether they change the outcome of enough plays to swing a game you otherwise lose. I want you to think about that for a second and drop one word in the comments. Hope, hype, or skeptic. That will tell me how you're feeling right now, and I'll read a few in the next video. Another quick check. Do you think these trades materially improved our playoff chances? Type yes or no below. I'm calling it straight. Those additions make you incrementally better. They make the unit tougher in obvious spots, and they give you more options in rotation and sub-package matchups. But incremental improvements don't always translate into wins against top-tier opponents unless the rest of the team stops sabotaging itself. You can't rely on analytics alone. You need execution. Dak has said it himself. Every game feels like one you can't afford to lose, and that's because you can't afford to lose. The math is simple. Lose too many of the next few, and you're chasing a meaningless late-season streak just to reach 500, and that won't get you into the postseason. So the first job of this chapter is to reset expectations while also holding on to honesty about what the trades did accomplish. They bought the team some durability in key spots, and they sent a message that the front office is trying to be proactive, which it needed. But if you're looking for a fix-all that clears away penalties, prevents turnovers, and improves communication in a week, that's not what you got. What you did get is something valuable. Incremental upgrades that, combined with cleaner play from you on offense and discipline across the roster, can create a real chance to string wins together. That's why the next stretch of games matters so much, because the margin for error is paper thin, and you either start proving that the changes matter, or you watch hope quietly drain away. If you're with me so far, hit like to help us get closer to 16,000 subscribers, and tell me in one sentence, what's the single thing you want to see fixed first? I'll read the best answers. Up next, we'll walk through the gauntlet those next opponents represent, and why surviving that stretch will define the season. When you look at what's coming next, the triple gauntlet isn't just a catchy phrase, it's the season's defining obstacle. 3 games that might decide everything: the Eagles, the Chiefs, and the Lions. That's your test. Before that, yes, you've got the Raiders, and that game has to be treated like a playoff matchup because it's the last one you can truly call winnable on paper. The Raiders are struggling, but you can't dismiss any team when you've already lost to the Bears, the Panthers, and the Cardinals. Those games reminded every fan that no opponent is a guaranteed win when you're own. Mistakes are doing the heavy lifting for the other side. Handle the Raiders, and maybe you build a bit of rhythm. Fail there, and the rest of the season feels like trying to run uphill in sand. Then comes the stretch that Mike Fisher calls the triple gauntlet. 3 powerhouse opponents, all playoff caliber, all playing more disciplined and complete football than Dallas right now. The defending NFC champion Eagles, the defending Super Bowl champion Chiefs, and last year's NFC regular season leader, the Lions. That's not just tough. That's a stretch where you'll likely be an underdog in every single matchup. Let's call it what it is: brutal. But that doesn't mean impossible. What it means is that you've got to play your most complete, focused football of the season just to stay in those games. The Eagles can grind you with physicality, the Chiefs can beat you with creativity, and the Lions can overwhelm you with tempo and firepower. These aren't teams that beat themselves, and that's the difference right now. When you hear Dak say, "It's still in front of us," that's not blind optimism. He's reminding the locker room that opportunity still exists, but it's shrinking fast. If you go through that 3-game stretch without at least one win, you're looking at a best-case scenario of an even record and maybe a meaningless December push. Do the math. 8-8 doesn't earn you anything but a ticket home. Lose all 3, and even a hot streak down the stretch probably won't save you. That's why fans keep calling this the do-or-die stretch, because it is. But here's what makes it interesting. One stolen win in that gauntlet could completely rewrite the story. You beat one of those giants, and suddenly you've changed the narrative from same old Cowboys to maybe they've turned the corner. And that's how fast perception can shift in this league. It's not just about surviving, it's about proving that the new pieces, the renewed energy, and the lessons learned from early failures actually amount to something tangible. So here's my question to you. Out of those 3 games, which one do you think the Cowboys have the best chance to win? Drop it in the comments. A for Eagles, B for Chiefs, C for Lions. I'll tell you this much. If Dallas plays with discipline, if they protect the football and find a way to execute on 3rd down, they've got a puncher's chance in any of them. That's football. But a chance and a plan are 2 different things, and right now, this team needs both. If you're enjoying the breakdown, go ahead and hit that like button. It really helps the channel reach 16,000 subscribers and keeps us doing daily Cowboys content for you. Up next, we'll look closer at those new names: Quinnen Williams, Logan Wilson, and how much they can realistically change the Cowboys' fortunes heading into this storm. Let's talk about those new additions, Quinnen Williams and Logan Wilson, because that's where a lot of hope has shifted lately. On paper, both players bring exactly what the Cowboys have lacked: physical presence, intelligence, and energy in the middle of the field. Quinnen Williams is the kind of defensive tackle who doesn't just plug holes, he collapses pockets. He can change the geometry of a play before it develops, forcing quarterbacks to move off their spot and running backs to hesitate. That's something this defense has desperately needed, especially when opponents have been pushing them around, inside. Then you add Logan Wilson, a linebacker who reads offenses like a book, diagnoses plays early, and gets to the football fast. He brings leadership too, that veteran, no-nonsense attitude that can quietly elevate everyone around him. But here's the truth. These 2 guys can't fix everything overnight. They make you better, yes, but in a game measured by inches and timing, better might still not be enough to flip every matchup in your favor. What they can do is help you avoid the UIE down kinds of big plays that have burned this defense repeatedly. Think about those 3rd and long situations where opposing quarterbacks have all day to throw, or the second-level gaps that open up when communication breaks down. That's where Williams and Wilson will show their value, turning potential disasters into manageable downs. Now, Fans want to believe that these moves are the spark. And honestly, they could be, if the rest of the defense buys in. A strong front makes everything behind it sharper. It helps your linebackers play faster, your corners play tighter, and your safeties trust their reads. But if tackling remains inconsistent, or if the offense keeps putting the defense in short field situations, even elite talent will struggle to make a visible difference. That's where coaching and communication come into play. So let's set realistic expectations. You didn't just add Pro Bowl versions of these guys. You added pieces that need to integrate quickly into a system that's been unstable. They're not miracles, they're reinforcements. What matters now is whether Dan Quinn and the defensive staff can adapt around their strengths, simplify assignments, and let them play free. If that happens, you might actually see a noticeable shift in defensive tone. Less reaction, more aggression. Here's something I'd like you to think about. Which of the new additions do you believe will have the biggest impact first? Drop their name in the comments. I'm curious to see where fans' confidence lies. Personally, I think Wilson's leadership could pay dividends sooner than most expect. But no matter how you slice it, these moves only matter if the team cleans up the fundamental mistakes that have haunted them all season. And that brings us to what Dak and the entire offense must address right now: discipline, communication, and execution. Because without those, even a reloaded defense can't carry this team through the gauntlet. If you're enjoying the breakdown so far, make sure to subscribe, help us reach 16,000, and keep this Cowboys conversation going daily. Coming up next, we'll dive into Dak's role in fixing what's broken and the 3 key areas this team must correct immediately to keep their playoff hopes alive. Dak Prescott has always said the right things: accountability, leadership, no excuses. But talk only matters if the execution matches it. And lately, that's been the biggest challenge for this offense. Turnovers, pre-snap penalties, blown assignments. Those are the killers that separate contenders from teams just trying to stay afloat. You can see the frustration in Dak's body language when drives stall because of mental mistakes, or when a solid gain gets wiped out by a false start or a hold. It's the kind of stuff that doesn't show up in highlight reels, but completely changes the flow of a game. And when your margin for error is already this small, those lapses can be fatal. Dak's quote, "Every game is a must-win going forward," isn't just rhetoric, it's math. This team has dug itself into a hole, and every mistake makes the climb steeper. You can't afford to hand away possessions or field position anymore. The reality is simple. If the Cowboys want to even dream about a turnaround, they need clean, disciplined football. That starts with communication. Offensive linemen have to stop looking confused when defenses shift. Receivers have to run routes with precision, no freelancing. And Dak has to keep trusting the structure. Get the ball out on time, protect the football, and let playmakers do their job. The other side of the coin is coaching. Discipline starts at the top. The staff can't keep watching the same mistakes repeat and call it growing pains. You fix penalties through accountability, by holding players responsible and adjusting practice habits to reflect game conditions. That's where this team has struggled. Too often they look prepared on paper, but disorganized when it matters. Now, here's what can actually change things fast. First, simplify the offense. Stop trying to be unpredictable and start being efficient. Second, focus on situational football. Third, down, red zone, 2-minute drives, areas where attention to detail separates good from average. And third, cut the penalties. Play clean for 4 quarters, and suddenly your chances to win jump dramatically. You don't need a miracle. You need discipline. I want to ask you, if you had to pick just one of those three fixes, which do you think is most crucial right now? Drop your choice in the comments. Play calling efficiency, situational focus, or penalty control. Let's see what you think. Because this is the kind of conversation that defines where the team's headed. If you agree that focus and discipline matter more than talent right now, hit the like button and help us keep pushing toward that 16,000 subscriber goal. Up next, we'll close out with something a lot of fans need to hear. Why sticking with? This team still matters, even when the playoff picture looks dark, and what to watch for in the weeks ahead. You might look at the standings and feel like it's over, but that's not how football works. Even when the odds are stacked against you, there's always something worth watching. Development, pride, and the players who still show up to compete every snap. That's what separates the fans who just follow the score from the ones who truly understand the game. This is the part of the season where you find out who really wants to be here. And for you as a fan, it's also where you see the foundation for what's coming next year. Think about it like this. When a baseball team falls out of contention, they start calling up the young guys, the future pieces. In football, it's the same idea. Late-season snaps show you which players can handle pressure, who's coachable, and who still plays with urgency. That's what makes these games meaningful, even when the record says otherwise. Watch how the young defenders adjust around veterans like Wilson and Williams. Watch how Dak handles adversity when the crowd starts doubting. Those details tell you more about the Cowboys' future than any stat sheet ever could. And honestly, that's why you keep tuning in. Not because you expect miracles every Sunday, but because you want to see signs of growth, that this team learns from its mistakes, tightens its execution, and shows a little heart when everyone else counts them out. Whether they fight their way back into relevance or not, these next few weeks will show the identity of this locker room. So I'll leave you with this. Are you still watching every game, no matter what? Drop a simple yes or no in the comments, and tell me one thing you still want to see from this team before the season's over. For me, it's discipline and fight. Because even if the standings don't change, the culture can. And that's what builds the next run. If you've been enjoying the daily Cowboys updates, make sure to subscribe right now and help us hit 16,000 subscribers. Every click helps keep Cowboys News TV growing and brings you closer to the inside of the star. We'll be right here breaking it all down, one week, one game, and one fight at a time.